see me battered, bruised, but never broken. Through the fire, hope still spoken. There's a strength inside me that keeps me strong. So I'll keep pushing, I'll keep holding on. Through it all, I won't fall. I've got power, standing tall. Battered, bruised, but not broken. I'm unshaken, still unshaken.
Welcome back to season 9 of Battered Bruised, Not Broken. Listen, I'm excited. I am excited. If you're tuning in here for the first time, I want you to go right ahead and just drop something in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from, because we are excited to have you in the room tonight. Tonight, we have another guest with us, and I'm excited to hear her story. I know that you are excited too. I know that you cannot wait. And so I'm not going to hold her back any longer. Help me to introduce to you none other than Melisa. Melisa, how are you doing? Welcome.
Thank you so much, Kamisha. I am doing great. Thank you for this invitation to come on here to share with your audience about my story. Battered, bruised, but not broken.
Amen. Awesome. And I'm seeing Joanne. She's saying, welcome, Melisa. Some of them are tuning in and some of them are using devices that may not allow them to comment, but I know you're watching. So I want to say hello to you out there who are watching us from the television, who are watching us from wherever you are. I want to welcome you. Thank you for being here tonight. And so, Melisa, you have a story, right? And I know they're on the edge of their seats. They can't wait to hear. But before we jump right into it, I want you to start by telling us a little bit about, who are you and what you do.
Okay. So my name is Melisa Dunkley-Smith. I am Jamaican, for those who don't know, because I know your platform is international. So yes, I'm Jamaican. I am an author of the best-selling book, Strong Girl Get Up. And I am also a certified life coach. I'm a speaker, and I am a mother and a wife. Other than that, in my daytime job, I am an HR professional, and I just love God. So that's me in a nutshell.
Beautiful. And so let's start from the beginning. Let's start with where it all started for you, Melisa. Let's start from there. Tell us where it started for you.
All right. So it all started, I was about 3 years old when my mother had to leave home. So my mother and father got married, but then they had to be separated. And so because of this separation, I would have suffered from a lot of abandonment issues and rejection issues. Because growing up as a child, not having your mother around and hearing other persons, saying all kind of negative things, it would make me feel very sad. And so I would have struggled with these abandonment and rejection issues for the early part of my life. And so, not having a mother around and having other persons speaking into your life negatively, it really, really affected me, because my mother wasn't there to give me that positive reinforcement. And yes, my dad is there, but because my mother is a Christian, my father is not. And so, he would do the best he knew how to. And not having my mother there, one of the things that stood out for me is that my father would always send us to church. So even though he wasn't a Christian, every Sunday you have to go to church. And so, yes, there were the naysayers and the persons that were speaking negatively over me. But then I had some reinforcement from the persons that I would have gone to church, what we would call the church mothers. And so they would play a role in my upbringing. However, there was still an emptiness inside. You know, when you hear my friends talking about their mother and the relationship, mother and daughter relationship that they would share, I was missing out on that. And so, even though the church mothers, every Sunday they will bring a little goodie bag, some hand me down clothes, whatever it was, every Sunday after church. But they deep down, there was something missing. And I was always out to pursue something to fill that missing gap. So that is how it all started.
And so you said something there very interesting. You said that you were dealing with rejection because your mom wasn't there. Do you know the reason why your mom had left? Was it because she had passed on, or was it by this way of decision? Like, what was the reason for your mom leaving you?
Right. So it was a decision, a tough one that she had to make at the time, because she had to choose, whether I'm gonna stay here and probably lose my life, or I will have to just leave and then try to take my children after. It was my younger brother and I. And so it was because of domestic violence why she had to leave us. And, me being the only girl, because she would later have another son, me being the only girl, there was just this mother daughter relationship that I would have yearned for, that I would have longed for to have with my mother, because I would have seen it, in the community. At school, you would hear other children talk about the relationship with their mother. But at the time, I did not have that. And so, because of domestic violence, she had to make a decision to leave.
And how long did it take before she was able to, come back and get you guys? How long was that?
All right. So she would have come back. I think I was about 11, thereabout. Based on a request made by me, my father would have came to visit, because we were kind of back and forth. So at this time, I was with my mother. And then when my father came to visit, I said to him, he asked me if I was okay, and I told him no. I told him that I want my mother and father to, you know, be living in one place again. And so he would have invited my mother to come back, but then things, it didn't work out. It wasn't working out. And so she had to leave. But this time when she left, I was older and more wiser. And so I would have understand this time why she had to leave.
And so having to deal with that then from a young age, because you said, just by her having to make a decision. And of course, that decision was about saving her life and making sure that she can, have a chance at life so she can become the mother that she needed to be for both you and your brother at the time. And so having to make such a decision like that, a critical decision at that, where she left her children behind, but with the intention of coming back. And now you have that seed of rejection, because at such a young age you didn't quite understand yet, because you're so young to grasp why did mommy go, and and having to deal with that and feeling neglected, abandoned, and all those other things that I can only imagine were happening. How were you able then to deal with that or overcome that, as you were able to grow past that stage of not understanding into the stage now of understanding why she did it? How were you able to deal with that?
Okay, so as I would have said before, because my mother was a child of God, she was a Christian. And so, because we were raised in the church, I got baptized at about 12 years old, and I got baptized. And so, my faith was my anchor. Uh, I would, because of my strong religious background, whenever I feel rejected, whenever I feel alone, I would pray. So prayer is very important. I would pray and I would read my Bible. Every function at church, I would try to take part, every activity. So I was a part of the children's choir, because there was this need for a sense of belonging. And so I was very active in church. So I was a part of the children's choir, I was a part of the youth ministry, and I was active, as I said. But my faith in God was what anchored me. Learning to pray from a young age, because at one point I was also staying with my grandmother. And you would always have to read your Bible and pray every night before you go to your bed. So she would have instilled that in us, and learning from that tender age how to pray, how to believe in God. And so that was my anchor, knowing that even though I feel rejected, even though I feel abandoned, the Bible says that even when your mother and your father forsake you, God will never leave you and he will never forsake you. And so I held on to that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you held on to that. You've grown up now, so you understand, you had God in your corner. And so as you begin to navigate now this whole, as you're growing and stuff, and you're growing up, did you ever encounter any other form of rejection or any other form of abandonment issues, or did you truly get to deal with the root of the problem? Because I know sometimes, as we grow up and certain things happen, sometimes we may not even be aware that we're still affected by something that happened back in our childhood days, until later when we sit down, we go through and we begin to reflect and we recognize, oh my goodness, this has stemmed from all the way back. Did you have one of those moments where you were able to see, okay, I'm still kind of dealing with some stuff here. There's still some residue here.
Oh, yes. So I would have backslidden at about 18 years old, and I was visiting church, but I wasn't fully in. And so because I wasn't fully in, things happen. I was searching for love in all the wrong places. And so I remember rejection showing up even when I got pregnant with my first son, because here it is now that the man that I was in a relationship with at the time, who I thought we were so in love, you grow up in church and you have plans of getting married and, having a family. But sometimes it doesn't always work out like that, because, things happen and our story sometimes is being written another way. But I got pregnant, and then I was told by this man who I was so in love with that he wasn't ready for a child. And so you find the rejection and the abandonment showing up even in adulthood. So, yes, it still comes up from time to time, and it's an ongoing process. Sometimes you are never completely healed, sometimes you never completely get over it, but it's what you do whenever those feelings come on. And so whenever I feel rejected, whenever I feel abandoned, I would just remember what the word of God says, that he is with me and he will never leave nor forsake me. So when men leave me, When my mother or father would have forsaken me, God has never left me.
That's it. That's it. And so you said, okay, and correct me if I'm wrong. You said, okay, you backslid at age of 18, you got into a relationship, and then you now met with some more rejection. I know you had to learn how to navigate that. How were you able to overcome that though? Because I know you mentioned that it occurred, but how were you able to overcome it?
Right. So again, a lot support. Support is critical. Having a tribe is very critical. And these persons in my life, at various stages in my life, God would have sent some destiny helpers, some mentors to get me through whatever season, whatever difficult season I'm going through at the time. And so there was always somebody to provide some emotional support, right? There's always somebody to encourage me. God always send these persons at the right time to encourage me, to motivate me, to say, hey, it doesn't matter what you're going through, don't give up, because God will never give up on you. And so I can't overemphasize the need for support, because we all need somebody. No man is an island, no one stands alone. We always need somebody to offer some kind of emotional support, some kind of a physical support. I would have had, even when my son was young, I have a friend who would always ensure that every month she would send something. So God would always provide these persons. He is like a divine intervention at the right time. And so he would always send these persons to provide support when I need it the most.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so I'm thinking now, at such a young age, you met this guy, now you have a child on the way. You said you had help, that which is awesome, having that level of support from those persons in your circle. But you're supposed to be a child of God, a woman of God. And of course, you said you backslid. How did you deal with that shame, that guilt, of having to come back now to your community where you once, this was your anchor, this was what you were holding on to? How were you able to deal with that? Having to face, no, here I am, I've made an error here, but here I am. How are you able to deal with that?
Right. So after realizing that whatever I was looking for, it wasn't in the world, I decided that I'm going to go back to my church. And so I would have recommitted my life to God, right? Because God is a redeemer. I want to encourage somebody today that God is a redeemer, and he can bring the broken parts of our life to make something beautiful out of it. Whatever I would have gone through, as Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for good. And so even the bad parts, the good parts, the broken parts, the whole parts, everything coming together. And so when I recommitted my life, I saw things shifting. I saw things changing. I would have later gone on to getting married to my husband, right? Have another son. So I'm just saying to say that, God did not write me off. And if there's somebody on listening tonight or whenever they're listening to this, if you feel like men have written you off, your family would have written you off, your coworkers, whoever it is, God has not written you off. And so it doesn't matter what you would have gone through, the shame, the guilt, the resentment, the rejection, God still cares for you.
Amen. That's so well said. That is so well said. And so now you're back, you're rebuilding, like you said, you gain and so on, and you have moved, you've developed this grow, you see God. So you're working through the process and stuff with God. And then eventually you met your husband. your knight in shining armor. Tell us how that story began for you. How did you guys meet?
All right, so we met over the phone. We met over the phone, and we would have made plans to meet face to face. And he was, at the time, he was living in the parish where I was born, because I would have migrated to the city. That's Kingston, Jamaica. After high school, I would have migrated to Kingston because of work. So he was living in Manchester, where I am from. And so I would have gone back to Manchester to meet up with this guy, and who is now my husband, my knight in shining armor. Yes, so I would have gone, met up with him, and we started dating from there. And at one point, I even had forgotten about getting married, because I was saying maybe nobody wants to spend the rest of their life with me. Maybe I'm not gonna be like Ruth, who is gonna get her Boaz. So I had taken that off my mind completely. I say, I'm just going to go to church. I'm just going to focus on God and, give him. I want to serve. I want to go back to the days where I serve in church. So that was my main aim. And then I would have met my husband. When we got engaged, my father died. We were supposed to get married in 2010, and my father died the same year. Now, this would have crushed me. We had to put off the wedding plans for a year. My father is this man whom I had grown up to love. Maybe it's the only man that I really believe that really loved me. And so the idea was to work and to make him proud, grow up and accomplish. He didn't get to see me graduate from college. He didn't get to see me get married. And so that really would have crushed me. It really did something to me. So again, that was another season where I was really, really down. And again, God would have sent persons, to just bear me up and to lift me up in prayer. My church community, everybody really rallied around me. And I forgot to share this part of the story, that my mother and I would have reunited when I was 16 years old. So after all that would have happened, my mother took me when I was 16, because when I migrated from Manchester to live with her in Kingston, I was with her at the time. And so we would have gotten back that bond. It was kind of strange because we were learning how to do mother and daughter things all over again. We, as a matter of fact, she said she wanted us to live like sisters. So though a little strange, she really tried, and I must say that she came back in my life at a very critical point. And so I always knew that, because she would write letters, even when she was not there, she would write letters. And I would always knew that my mother loved me and that she cares for us, my younger brother and I at the time. I always knew that she cared for us, and she only did what she did because at that time it was the best thing to do. Yes, so I just had to put that part in.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful that you got that opportunity to reconnect with your mom and to build a relationship with her. So that's really good. That's really good. God always restores. And so now you in that season, you said no, you're getting ready to get married, and then here goes your dad, has passed. At how old were you at that point when you were getting ready to get married?
I was 25,
And
25
so
years old.
okay. And so at the age of 25, then having now to place your wedding on hold so that you can, grieve and deal with everything concerning your dad, and then deal with, marriage and so on. How was it being able to navigate that decision? Because I'm just thinking, was that a decision that both of you came together and said, okay, this is what we are going to do? Or was it that you felt like, you know what, right now I can't do this right now? And you were the one who said, let's hold this off for another year. How did that go?
Well, it was a decision that was made by both of us because my fiance at the time, he would have known the kind of relationship that my dad and I had. And so, because of that, he wanted me to focus on grieving, processing the grief at that time, which is very important because sometimes we need to feel the feelings and kind of process it. Because sometimes we try to do a lot of things so that we avoid the grief, and sometimes it doesn't help. So sometimes you just need to feel the feelings, process them, and then so you can, continue with your life after that. It was a very hard season. You know, I really, really wanted my dad to, well, both parents, to see that, hey, mom and dad, I made it. I graduated from college. I'm in a good job. I got married. I have children. I'm back in church. You really wanted them to see that. But unfortunately, my dad is no longer here. And because of the support of my husband, who was my fiance at the time, and other supportive family members, church family, I was able to go through that grieving process.
Wow, beautiful. It's great that you had that level of support. And so I want to go back just a bit because as you were sharing, the thought just came up. I know you talked about your mom having to, flee the home because of domestic abuse. And can you clarify for us, was that domestic abuse coming from your dad that your mom was receiving? Yeah. And so having known, but obviously you're so young, so you didn't know at first, but as you grew older, you understood. And so having coming to find, because based on what you shared, you were daddy's girl. You love your father. He's like your heart. At any point, did you have any hatred towards him, or were you angry or upset toward at him? Because did you feel like, it's because of you that mom left, it's because of you that my mom wasn't here? And if that's the case, how did you navigate that? How did you deal with that?
Right. So at first, I was too young to understand, as I said. But the second time around, I was older enough. And because of what was happening, because of, I would have heard some of the threats that were made to my mother, this time around, I understood why she had to leave because persons, sometimes say things that are not completely true. And then my father now would not, instead of trying to verify whether or not whatever persons would say is true, he would just get upset and make threats. So, yes, I wasn't really bitter towards him. Bitter, yes, due to the fact that he's the reason why mommy is not there. But deep down inside, there was still this love for my father, in spite of. So the kind of relationship or the kind of love it's kind of hard to explain. But yes, I was a bit upset with him because he's the reason why mommy is not there. But I think I was probably more so upset with the persons who were bringing the rumors at the time.
And I can only imagine that having to hear it, because you said the love for your father was there, your daddy's girl. And so to hear anyone say anything, because the way in which he treated you was not the person that they described. And so I can only imagine it's like it just doesn't add up. it's not matching up to what they're saying, because here you are and your businessman and he's caring for you, loving for you, he's showing you, like you said, because you said you had shared earlier that he was the only man at the time that had love, but you were loved by. And so now you're hearing these things and it just doesn't make sense. So I can definitely understand that. So I haven't gone through all that you would have encountered as you went through that phase in your life. Looking back now, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Well, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that, and if I knew that my father would listen to me, if I was sure that he would listen to me and take my advice, I would, talk to him to say, encourage him to do everything to ensure that we have a wholesome family setting. Because what you find is that when you have this kind of dysfunction in the home at a tender age, sometimes it spill over in our adulthood. And so even now, if I make an offer to somebody and they say no, I have a hard time dealing with rejection. Sometimes there is even the fear of asking because I don't want to hear no, because I don't want to be rejected. So I would encourage him, but then no, because sometimes, as I said before, everything that happens for a reason. And so maybe this is just a part of my story so that today I can be the voice to encourage women and young girls out there, to empower them, to motivate them, to be their accountability partners, to hold their hands when they are going through. And that is why I do the work that I do, because I'm in women empowerment, all things women empowerment, to empower women out there that your circumstances doesn't have to define you, right? But instead you can use them to refine you.
That's it. Well said. Well said right there. Well said. And I like that you share that part about what you do. We're going to segue into that in just a bit. But just before we do that, for that woman who is on the line right now, she's tuning in now, or maybe she might catch this replay. And she herself is struggling with rejection. Either it was from a parent, just similar to you, or it could be from a relationship, it could be on the job, it could be so many different things. But rejection is definitely right now a seed, and then and she's dealing with it. What would be your words of encouragement to that woman?
Okay. All right. So what I would say to that woman is, you are much stronger than you think. Whatever it is that you would have gone through, it is what it is writing your story. And so don't give up. God, even when everybody would have forsaken you, God has not forsaken you. And God will never given up on you. God sees you, He hears you, and He knows you. So, whatever it is that you're going through, I'd say, whatever storm you're going through, there is this quote that I like to say, that every storm will run out of rain. And so, whatever it is you're going through, this too shall pass. Weeping may endure for a morning, for a night, but joy comes in the morning.
Beautiful. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And so, last question before we start to talk about what you do, the work that you do. In terms of now, you got when I want to go back to you finding your husband and you getting married and everything. And throughout that process of of your marriage and building and so on, Did you find that you had any struggles with, rejection or feeling rejected or feeling abandoned or any issues around that line? Did anything like that ever occurred?
Yes, as I shared earlier, even to ask for help. So because I don't like to hear the word no, it's something that I've been processing and trying to, you know, still a work in progress. Um, I still don't like to hear the word no. And so even now, when I hear the word no, it I kind of reframe it because I'm trying to know to understand that rejection, I don't take rejection personally. So sometimes when the rejection comes up, I just say that maybe it's God redirecting me. So I don't take it personally anymore. Well, at least I try not to take it personal anymore. So I'm now more comfortable with hearing the word no. So I sometimes I don't like to ask my husband to do things if I can do it myself. Even though, sometimes we have some things around the house that the men would do, but I tend to do it on my own because he might not do it as quickly as I would wish. And so I just take it on. Once I can manage it, then I take it on. But if it's something that is require more strength than I have, then yes, I will ask him. So yes, it still shows up. Rejection still shows up every now and then, but it's how you deal with it when it come up. And what I do, I just try to, you know, have a positive outlook at all times.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful that you're able to see. And I love how you said, it's God's redirection. And so even in that stage, because knowing where you would have came from, and what you're walking through and so on, how were you able to have that conversation then with your husband and to say, honey, this is actually something that I am dealing with, instead of lashing out or reacting to, what would have been happening, because obviously in his case, he probably would have been doing whatever it was so innocently, not recognizing that this thing is alarming for you. How did you have that conversation?
It's a difficult conversation to have sometimes, but after being married for 13 years, he kind of he knows. So if he sees that sometimes I will shut down or I'll choose avoidance. So something might be happening and I don't want to talk about it. He understands. So he gives me some time and then we'll talk about it later. So I might not want to talk about it now. So he will give me some time and then we will talk about it at a later date. So he kind of get used to me and knowing that if he realize that I'm not okay and he asks if I'm okay, sometimes you just say yes, I'm okay, because you don't want to talk about it right now. But then at another convenient time, we will sit and talk about it.
Beautiful. And so, what would be your advice then to that woman right now that's tuning in? This is a married woman. She herself is also dealing with rejection, and she's having some issues in her, in her marriage because of the rejection that she's dealing with, and she's struggling to communicate that with her husband. How would you advise, or what would be your words of encouragement to that woman so that she's able to navigate that without bringing any more strain, unnecessary strain on the marriage, but to deal with the issue at hand?
All right. So I would say if it is something that you think you cannot handle yourself, you and your husband, get help. You have counselors out there. You can talk to your pastor, somebody who you can trust. So seeking supports. A lot of times we don't want to ask us for help. We don't want because we don't want anybody to know what is going on. But if it is something that you and your husband cannot work out, then seek the help always ask for help. But if it is that you and your husband can talk it out, you probably don't want to deal with it right away when we normally say when it's hot. So you probably wait a while when the tempers are cool, deal with it, and pray. I can't leave out prayer. Pray, bring it to God because He is the one. He is the only one that we can guarantee that when we say something to Him, nobody else will know because He's not going to tell anybody else. So seek God, and if you can't, if it is something that you and your husband can't deal with, then seek help. There are counselors out there, mentors out there, your pastor, whoever it is, seek help. Because a lot of times we suffer in silence, and you don't want to do that. Get help if you need to get help.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so now let's talk about why you do what you do. So you mentioned earlier about women's empowerment. This is something that you enjoy and you're very passionate about it. So tell us a little bit more about what you do.
All right. So for those who have been on with us since the start, thank you so much for staying. So I would have mentioned at the top of the program that I am an author. So I would have written the book. It's a 21-day devotional, Strong Girl, Get Up. And this book was written to, encourage women on how to be resilient. And the inspiration behind this devotional was I had a friend who would have reached out to me because in my friend circle, I'm known as the encourager. And so, they would always reach out to me for encouragement, for advice. And so she would have reached out to say that she was going through a really difficult time and she felt like giving up. And after encouraging her, she had a change of perspective. And, I said that if I could encourage her and the other persons who I was giving the advice, then I could, write a book to encourage women because all of us are going through something. Each and every one of us. There is a struggle that we have dealing with. And so I want to encourage the women out there, that it doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter the storm. I say storms don't last, but strong girls do. And so I've written this book, for those who feel like they are not strong, to encourage them that you are indeed a strong girl. And for those who are, tired of being strong, to still encourage them, to continue to be strong. And sometimes even us as strong girls, we have to take a step back because we can't pour from an empty cup. So sometimes we need to take a step back so we can refill, so we can pour into others. And so that's what this book is about. And then from the book, birth my conference, Strong Girl Get Up. It's a women's empowerment conference. And that conference is happening next month, the 8th of November in Manchester, Jamaica, for those persons who are locally. It will be at Neil's Auditorium. That's right here in Cool Mandeville on the 8th of November. And this is the second staging of the conference. We had a wonderful conference last year. Persons still talking about it, how God would have showed up in that room and how persons would have been blessed. I mean, I had one lady who came to the conference last year who was planning to take her life. And the morning her friend was coming to the conference and her friend called her and said, look, we're heading to Mandeville. So I am just grateful for the grace that God has given me to pour into women. And so that's what I do.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So listen, if you're tuning in right now, you want to go right ahead. If you're in Jamaica, or if you can fly to Jamaica, you want to go right ahead and get your ticket so that you can be in the room. Listen, it's going to be amazing. You just heard about what's about to take place there. You don't want to miss it. If you can grab your tickets, is there anything that will be happening virtual for those persons who might not be able to fly in, but maybe they can catch you, online? Is it going to be virtual? Any part of it will be virtual?
We didn't have that kind of hybrid setup,
Okay.
but since you mentioned it, I might consider it.
Okay. Well, there you go. For those of you who might not be able to fly right now, but you're very interested, but you want to be a part of it. If not this year, maybe next year. You want to stay close. You want to make sure. Tell them where they can follow you, where they can find you. For those persons who just want to connect with you, and maybe especially for next year, they want to get in early. Tell them where they can find you.
All right. So for those who are on social media, you can follow me on Instagram. It's the Purpose Driven Motivator. So you can follow me there. On Facebook, it's my name, full name, Melisa Dunkley-Smith. And you can also reach out to me via email. It's meldunkley-smith@gmail.com. Or if you want to reach out to me via telephone, it's 876-397-9349.
Beautiful. You just heard it right there. The contact numbers on the screen: 876-397-9349. Make sure you reach out, make sure you follow her, send her an email, even to get a copy of that book. Is your book available on Amazon right now?
Yes, it is. So the book is available at Amazon. You can just type in the name Strong Girl Get Up or my name, Melisa Dunkley-Smith, and you'll be able to find it there. For those persons who are in Jamaica, you can reach out to me, send me a DM or send me an email or give me a call, and I will have a signed copy delivered to you.
Beautiful. Get your copies. We heard from one of the viewers in the chat, Michelle. Michelle said that she was able to get a copy of it, and it's an excellent devotional. She said it helped her during a challenging season. And so, if you are here, you're tuning in, and you know that you're in the challenging season, you just need that. You just need that pick me up. You just need that opportunity to just get up. Then this is where you want to go. Go directly, grab your copy off of Amazon, or if you're in Jamaica, reach out so you can get your signed copy. Listen, it's been a blast just hearing your story. As we're hearing here, they're saying it's very inspirational, very encouraging. And so, just before we go, if there's anything that maybe I didn't get an opportunity to ask you, but right now you're like, oh, I should have said that to them. I want to give you that opportunity to go right ahead and just share those last words with them.
All right. So, what I would say is, whatever it is, whatever hard seasons you may be going through right now, don't give up. Don't give up. Your story is being rewritten, and God sees you, He hears you, He knows you, and He is rewriting your story. So, don't despise the hard seasons, because all things are working together for good according to God's purpose for your life.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All things are working together according to God's purpose for your life. Listen, it's definitely been a blast talking to you, Melisa. I've definitely enjoyed it. It has been inspirational and encouraging. And I want to thank you for being so transparent, being so open, and sharing with us here tonight. I know for a fact that those who have tuned in tonight, that they have definitely been blessed, they've been encouraged, and they're looking forward to learning and hearing more about what's upcoming for you. And so I want to just continue to encourage you to continue to keep going, because you're definitely making an impact. You're definitely, you're definitely making a difference in this world, and that is definitely needed. So thank you for your service. Thank you for, giving of your best every single time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kimisha, for having me.
You are most welcome. I'm seeing a question just before we go from Michelle. She's asking if you're taking clients for coaching.
Yes, I also do coaching. So if there's anybody who is hearing me or will watch the replay and you want to do coaching, you can reach out to me via email. It's meldunkley.smith@gmail.com, and I can schedule a call with you, a discovery session with you.
Beautiful,
And
beautiful.
can I add something,
Yeah, absolutely. Go
Nisha, if
ahead.
that's okay with you? I just want
Yeah.
to say that if there's anybody who want to partner with me or want to sponsor a lady to the event, you can do so by reaching out to me via email. Again, it's meldunkley.smith@gmail.com. So maybe you are not able to come, you're not able to be in the room, but you can sponsor another lady who would want to come but cannot afford to. So you can sow a seed into the ministry by sponsoring a lady, or if you want to partner with me in any shape or form, you can reach out. So the email, I think Kimisha had the email up. It's meldunkley.smith@gmail.com, or contact me at 876-397-9349.
That's right. It's right there on the screen. For those of you, you'll see it right there on the screen, and all the information is there. Once again, guys, I really want to thank you for tuning in. Just before we go, if this is your first time joining us for Battered Bruised Not Broken, this is season 9. We are on episode 7. I can't believe it. Time just keeps flying. Next week, we're going to be right back here, same time, with another powerful woman who's going to be in the room to share her story with us. And that's going to be episode 8. I'm excited because it just keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better every single time. So I want to invite you, invite a friend, invite a family member, invite a co-worker, just invite someone so that they can tune in and they can hear those stories of those powerful women that are being shared here tonight. And if this is your first time learning about Queen's Mindset, you can follow us on Instagram at Queen's Mindset, or you can go to our Facebook page at Queen's Mindset. You can also learn more about us too as well right here on YouTube as well. And if you want to be a part of our membership, go to our website at www.queensmindset.net so that you can be a part of what is happening over there. I want to thank you once again for tuning in tonight. You've heard the story of Melisa Dunkley-Smith, and I am your host, Kimisha K from Queen's Mindset, and it was indeed a pleasure having you in the room. Whatever you do, make sure you do it unto God, and have an amazing night, and I'll see you right back here next week, same time and same place. Have an amazing night. Goodbye.
You see me battered, bruised, but never broken. Through the fire, hope still spoken. There's a strength inside me that keeps me strong. So I'll keep pushing, I'll keep holding on. Through it all, I won't fall. I've got power, standing tall. Battered, bruised, but not broken. I'm unshaken, still unshaken.